believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy, girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk, the God in God talk.
And that's a wrap.
Apparently, the dating landscape in 2025 was insane. The apps are full of bots. The streets are filled with psychos and scammers. And the who brings what to the metaphorical table conversations seem to be getting stale. But ever the optimists and certified lover girls, your hosts, Truth and YaYa, do not believe that just because something is hard means it's impossible. Mm-hmm. So join us for this week's episode where we will explore the real talk question: as reasonably conscious, spiritual, and relatively normal human beings, how do we cultivate discernment in love and dating? What are some approaches to finding that special someone that could yield better results, more fulfilling results, and make it more clear whether or not you're on the path to the real thing, right? So, honestly, Truth and I can speculate all day about what people who are out in the field should and should not do. But as the Greeks inscribed at the Temple of Apollo, first know thyself. And we know that we have been out of the game for a while. So for a little splash of authenticity to just, make it real, keep us on track, I'm so glad to introduce you guys to my best friend, Laura, who is a bomb-ass human being, sexy bitch, and a single adult woman, never been married, never had kids as of yet, and she's actually out here living it. She's doing the damn thing. And so we're hoping she can be here to share some of her experiences and kind of, keep us in line with some realistic perspectives on the matter.
Yeah, lot of check boxes there, right? Never married, no kids. I love we love it. We love it.
Big mama, right. No kids.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly, Laura. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on and giving us this perspective on this episode today. You did share with us a little bit of your bio, so I'm gonna read that for our listeners, right? Daughter, sister, friend, navigating life with intention. By day, Laura works as a nonprofit professional and studying to become a licensed clinical social worker. She's smart, y'all. Okay, a millennial woman figuring out love, life, and dating one day at a time. She prioritizes self-care, explores her many interests, and meets each season with curiosity and grace. I love it. Once again, welcome to the show, Laura. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, you also are like a day one of Real Talking God.
Yes, so, yes. So I'm an avid follower, so I'm really excited to be here.
Facts. So we love it. We love it. So we know, we know a little bit about you, right? But we want to make sure our listeners know more about you. So before we get into all of this conversation, which I'm sure is going to be juicy and everything, tell us a little bit about yourself, like a 7-word story that like gets right to the point of what listeners should know about you.
Okay, 7 words. I mean, that's hard to kind of narrow it down, but if I had to do, I'm just playing. I would say 7 words. I would say creative. Curious, yapper, Brooklyn all day, all day. Let's see, neurospicy, lover girl, but that's 2 words, but still lover girl. And the last one I would say is daughter.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely hear a few things that make me a little curious about, approach to dating, how these qualities are working for you, working against you, the whole 9. So we'll get into that.
Okay.
To kind of stay in line, we are Real Talk on God Talk, heavy on the God Talk. Tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself, your spiritual or religious background, where you're starting from.
Yeah, so my religious background kind of started, my mom was Baptist. My mom's originally from the South, but came up to the north. So I was raised Baptist. We wasn't, I would say, heavy in church, but my mom did have me in church. Like I was in Sunday choir. My mom was on the usher board, things like that. So I was raised Baptist. Now as an adult, I think I take more of a, like, I'm not rigid religious, I would say, just more of like a spiritual background, like, spiritual more than not, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Okay, so we will see you at brunch on Sunday.
Yes,
Right.
always at brunch. Always at brunch.
Okay.
Shout out to the Baptists too. Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit in here real quick. So we did not send you this question.
All right.
Boom! Surprise!
Surprise! Gotcha.
Okay.
So no, it's not a gotcha type of question. I'm just hella nosy, and I'm sure listeners are as well. What's your relationship status now? What's your approach? Like, what's your relationship status / like approach to dating? Like, where you at right now?
Okay, so I am single. I'm ready to mingle.
Right.
So also, if there's anyone listening, I'm single.
Hey, you gotta shoot
single.
a shot.
Yeah,
Right.
because I know. My approach to dating now, to me, is kind of like my approach to applying for jobs.
Okay.
I would say, and I know that sounds kind of like rigid a little bit, but one thing I've learned about myself is like I would get attached really quickly. And so I've had to kind of detach in a way from the process, like because of I mentioned neurospicy before, and my ADHD brain is like I would meet someone and immediately just attach to them. So now I'm trying to, approach it the same way I would approach applying to a job, really looking to see, okay, does this person really have the qualities that I need, that I require, and kind of knowing myself and, what is required to be with me and vice versa. And kind of, I don't want to sound cold about it because it's not a cold thing, but it's trying to not be so attached so quickly and really make sure that when I'm getting to meet people, if I'm seeing if this is really a match for me, because I realize, yeah, you can have chemistry, but you may not be aligned, you may not be compatible. And so when I say like how I apply to jobs, like, are we really compatible? Because even now when I apply to jobs, I don't just apply to anything, right? When I was younger, I would be like, okay, I just need the money. But now I'm like, do I want to work in that environment? Do I want to work with these group of people? I'm a little more particular. So same thing if I'm dating, and so that's kind of my approach now.
Okay.
I love it.
Single, ready to mingle.
Yeah.
And intentional.
Yeah.
With it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think you touched on something really important, just knowing when like your own worth, right? And knowing your own worth, you do treat it like jobs, right? You're not just gonna apply to any old thing, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I dig it because not everybody worth your time neither. So
I agree. Yeah,
and
and I might not also be a match for them.
Absolutely.
What I mean? So knowing myself and knowing like what somebody else may need, I might not be the match for them. So yeah.
And I think you said something really important about like chemistry. Like you can have all the chemistry in the world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that y'all two are good for each other.
Agreed.
So it's like it gets so much deeper.
It does. Yeah. It does for sure.
No, that's a really good metaphor. I'm not going to lie. The chemistry, because what type of reaction are you trying to make? Like, you're looking for something that's going to boom. It might be exciting, but is that sustainable long term? So, yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's get into it. I think we're ready to just transition right into the thing.
Okay, let's get into it.
Well, I don't know if you've heard of the term singleism.
I've never heard of that.
So I never heard of that neither until YaYa put me on to some research that she was doing, right?
I love me a little random word.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Right, because when I first saw it, I was like, "No, she's making stuff up." but I was like, okay, so little background. So in 2005, academic article by Wendy Morris and Bella DePaulo coined the term singleism, right? And it's referring to the stereotyping and stigmatizing and basically like discrimination against people who are single, right? And you wanna go into a little more of that, YaYa, if you read into it?
Yeah. So basically it's a word for what we all know kind of exists, especially as women. Like this is like low key,
right.
A girl's chat today. The world pushes you towards marriage. The world pushes you to prioritizes couples. we can name all the times in which we've spent upwards of $100, $200, $300, giving people wedding gifts, making sure that we say happy anniversary, doing all that stuff. But when a single person has a life, goalpost that they're hitting, are we taking the time to recognize those things? Do we give them the same value? Just all the ways that you can think of in which people say marriage and family counts,
Right.
and those who do not partake in that are less, don't get as much attention, don't get as much respect. If you're going for a shift and they're like, oh, well, you're single, you don't have anyone at home. You could take that shift. All of those are examples of singleism and like matrimania, which basically talks about like the way we go crazy for marriage or whatever. And I think why we really bring it up is because I feel like it's just all around us. It's pervasive. And that's like a part of the reason why this is such a conversation at all,
I agree. I mean, it's so funny you say that though, because I do think that I do see some change in tide. It's funny. I've been on the Substack app. It's this new app with like all these articles and things on there. And they were talking about how, and I don't know if this is singleism as well, but they were just saying they're seeing a lot more women embracing now being single. And I don't know if that's because, like, I even think about people like Tracy Ellis Ross and other people and even online, they're painting this picture to be like, hey, this is what it could look like, right? Like before it's like, are you going to be a spinster with some cats, But now you're seeing women that's like, listen, like did the whole marriage thing. That was cute. But they're like, listen, I'm dancing in my moo in the living room with a glass of wine. I make good money. I'm in my 40s now. I'm living good. My house is decorated. And I'm not going to lie. It shows women where it's like, oh, I didn't see this way of it before, because like you said, when I was growing up, even my own grandmother used to look at me like, okay, girl, like, what's going on with you, But I do think the view around singleism has changed. However, I still think with women, especially in families, like I know I'm the youngest out of my siblings. I'm not married. And it is expected of the person who's not married that, like, for example, if a parent is sick, like, yeah, you can go. Like you should be able to go because you don't have all the responsibilities as, maybe someone. And the logistic part of it, I see that where it's like, okay, I guess if you're married and you have children, you have more people that you have to consult. You may have to ask your husband or your wife, you know what I mean? Or see how if your kids got soccer or they got, extracurricular activity, how you're going to help. But I do think it's unfair to think that, okay, just because someone is single, like, oh, you can drop everything and go because you don't have anyone to ask, because I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to get married and just tell people no and just say that it was my partner who said it. But it's not even really me. I just didn't want to go. And I'm like, I would never do it to you because now you would know. I would never do that to you anyway. But I'm just saying, you could be like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't make it because my partner is not really feeling well and I have to stay home and help. Right. But because I'm single, y'all call me and y'all be like, bitch, I know you ain't doing nothing. It's like, you're right. I'm not.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
You're right. I'm not doing nothing. But yeah.
So do you feel the pressure? Like, so I know that it exists, you talked a little about your grandmother, back in the day, society in general, but like, do you feel it? You feel the pressure? You feel like it's pushing you?
I wouldn't say more so to be married. I would say to have a child because I understand the biological time stamp on it, even going to my doctor and the doctor being like, hey, just so you know, I just got to tell you. And it's like, I know, because I do like even that show Later Daters, I think it was on Netflix. It's like, I don't think that I would not have anyone, my grandma had a boyfriend at like,
I love that.
So it's like, listen, I don't think that I'll ever be without somebody. I'm not worried about that. But the motherhood part, I am.
Yeah.
I am highly desired. Say less.
I love it. No, that's true though. Like, come on, billions of people out here. You think me is gonna be alone? Nah, get out of here.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just saying. But as far as motherhood, that is a question for me.
Right.
You're so right.
No.
They like to throw around that term geriatric pregnancy. It's like, oh my God, relax.
No, it's really ridiculous.
Right.
They really get disrespectful with it. Like,
Right, who you calling geriatric?
right. Like, I'm in my prime, baby. Like,
Listen.
come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's wild.
Okay, so you're not feeling the pressure so much towards marriage, but you are out there, doing the damn thing. Are you like, I know your business, so I'm trying to not do too much. But are you on the apps? Are you dating in person? Like, what does it look like for you? And like, how, like, what's your approach? What does it look like? And like, what is your approach?
So I am on the apps. I've been trying to do a mix of like the apps and in person. The apps, I feel like they've called the apps like lazy dating in a way, because here you could be at home, you can be in your moo, you can be in your bonnet, you ain't gotta do much.
Are you speaking from experience?
From experience, okay? But I'm trying to do a mix of both, of like in person and I guess like online. But in person has been a little difficult as a strategy, because I do feel like as a woman over 35 now, I'm over the hill. It's like I really don't want to be outside unless I'm with my friends, like I don't want to just be pointlessly sitting outside. Usually if I'm outside and someone comes up to me, it's like, why are you here? And then it's like, okay, I'm trying to be open, so it is very hard because, as a single woman, it's like, do I get dressed up? I've heard a lot of advice like, girl, just get dressed up and like just go sit at the bar and like but it's like, I don't want to do all of that. I don't want to do that. So, but I'm trying to do a mix of, because the apps are the apps, so it's just like that's a whole thing in itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's even just that advice, right? Of just like go dress up and go sit down somewhere. Like what? Like that's magically just gonna bring somebody in. Like that's
right. Like I'm just here spending unnecessary money, just sitting at the bar, like hoping that somebody comes up to me that's not weird, And don't get me wrong, I definitely can strike up conversation with people and have good conversation. But that doesn't mean that it's going to lead to, me being in a relationship or something like that. I mean, now another strategy that I'm trying to do is just, really taking care of myself and just going towards my hobbies. So like, I like to read, so book clubs or going to the gym. A lot of people meet their gym bae, or walking clubs or run clubs, things like just trying to do your natural hobbies and interests. Not just for the reason of dating, but if you meet someone there and like, oh, you have similar interests, then great.
Yeah. No, that's cool too, because like it's also like your life doesn't stop just because you're dating, right?
Exactly.
Like it is like it's just part of your life, so your life still has to go on. So like your hobbies still have to be there, Yeah.
For sure.
Have you found like in doing all of that you are seeing some stuff that is like a non-negotiable for you? Like, okay, like let's say like you go to the gym. Do you want your partner to go to the gym? Like if they don't go,
This is a good question. Okay, yeah. So with the fitness thing, right? I do learn that lifestyles, especially when dating, is important, because if it's too extreme of a lifestyle, right? Like I want to be healthy, but if you're saying like you want to be a bodybuilder and you trying to run 30 miles, it's like, baby, I don't want to do it with you. I'm not going to be eating raw eggs and having protein shakes every day and protein pancakes with protein banana. I'm not doing all that.
Right.
So it's like, I have been in relationships sometimes where people were extreme with their lifestyle and you want me to be extreme. And to me, that's a lifestyle mismatch.
Yeah.
I'm not waking up every morning at 6 a.m. to go to the gym with you. I may do it sometime, but maybe my gym time is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or when my schedule allows, right? Or if we're doing a marathon, I'm doing a walkathon. I'm still in the marathon, but I'm walking.
Right,
I don't need you to be like, well, you need to run. Like, don't do that. So I do think that a non-negotiable is like, if our lifestyle are too extreme in the hobbies, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
1000%. I want to go back really quick to something that you were saying before, Laura, right? And so out of what you were talking about in your approaches, I kind of heard you prioritizing kind of the risk and reward part of things where you're like, I'm not really trying to like go out there, be out in the streets, put all this effort in, spend the money, get my hopes up, do all these things for like low reward, right? So that's one thing. And then the second thing I kind of heard was just, getting into yourself and knowing yourself so well that you are going to like kind of attract someone who is walking a similar path to you because you're out there. You're actually putting yourself in places that you genuinely want to be, and that like feed your spirit, feed your soul, feed who you are as a person, right? I think that those are two very, I don't want to say good or bad, but like they sound like they could be productive approaches, right?
They're good.
Right.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yes. Why I can't just say they're good? They're good. Fine, they're good. But, right? Out of that, it kind of makes me think of like needing to be very clear about what you're actually looking for, right? Because that whole risk and rewards, that set of things, like if you're just simply looking for, in general, if you're just looking for a good time, like let's say you're not looking for a long-term relationship, you're not looking for a companion, you're not looking for somebody to share bills with, you're just looking for a good time, period. You can find a good time a million more ways with lower output than just sitting at a bar, right? But if you are looking for like, I don't know, deep love, your life companion, somebody to procreate with, whatever, you might take another approach or another approach. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about like clarity, because like personally for me, I feel like that is like really key. Like it's just so important. And so it's like, of all the possible things we're talking, I think this is really important. Are you talking about companionship? Are you looking for sex? Are you looking for financial stability in the person that you're with because you want like a financial partnership? Legal marriage? Like, are you looking for that piece of paper signed? You romance, attention, you just want to feel beautiful a little bit and be like the apple of somebody's eye. Like, what do you think about clarity, and like, do you know what you're looking for exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I think clarity is very important. I do think that clarity, look, I don't even know if this is the right way to say it. Clarity becomes more clear, or you have more clarity as you get older, right? So I would definitely say when I was younger, I didn't, not that I didn't put thought into it, but me, myself was in a place in life where I was just having fun. I'm also figuring out my life, like career and this and that. So, like, I could think back to college where it's like, okay, well, we're both in college. Like, how much, we're not thinking about getting married right now. We're not thinking about having children right now. We just thinking about doing midterms and like, you want to call me to the library and chill. Like, you know what I'm saying? So my needs were different then. So I think as I've gotten older and my needs have changed and my circumstances have changed, right? Like bills have changed, where I live changed, my responsibilities as a daughter, I take care of my mom. She lives with me. So it's like, oh, okay. So now I'm not looking for somebody just to hang out with, especially because as you get older, you have your foundational friends and your people around you. So it's like, yeah, if I just wanted to have a good time, have a good conversation, I would just do it with my friends. So I really had to sit with myself. And I will say this, I think you also get more clear in relationships. Like I hear a lot of people say that, oh, like they're just taking a break. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but sometimes you can feel like you're healed because you're single and you're not dealing with anyone else. So it's easy to be untriggered because you're just with yourself. You get to come and go as you please. No one is kind of like pinching on that nerve. But when you get in a relationship, that's when you start to go, oh, like you get clear where you're like, oh, this does not work. Like this type of person, this don't work. So I think through relationships is when I've been able to get more clear in what I need. And I will say at this phase of my life, like I am looking for that companionship through life, right? Like, yes, there are needs, like we're all human. So things like, intimacy and things like that are important. But I do think like at this phase of my life, I'm looking for a companion to walk with me through life because life is only going to get more complicated. Like after having a parent dying and this and that, it's like really having someone in your corner where y'all can both, like when life is beating both of y'all up, y'all can come together. And now the legal aspect of it, because some people feel like you can do that without legally being married, and you can. For me, for me, I would like to be legally married only because I've also witnessed how things happen when people pass away and you're not legally married, and then you want to advocate for someone, like when your parents is going, like, who's your emergency contact, you know what I'm saying? So when you're legally married, hopefully you choose the right person where they could speak up for, the things that how you would want things to be and where you want things to go. And so for me, the legal portion is important as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
you.
nah.
Yeah, you dropped some gems for real, because I think it's so important to understand that part of us, like, even knowing what we want, is like experience. Like, you just got to get it through experience. There's
Mhm.
no substitution for it. So you
Mhm.
might have to go through like some BS, right, before you be like, oh, or like I was talking to my wife the other day, and like I was saying, I was like, in the topic of like non-negotiables, there were some things that I didn't know were non-negotiable until like I got in a relationship, and I was like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
And that's,
exactly.
And I will not stand for this bullshit.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, how else you gonna know but experience? So like, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. You just gotta get
Yeah,
out there, right? But I absolutely agree. Who you are in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and beyond, like, you're gonna be a completely different person. What you're gonna like, what's
exactly.
gonna turn you on, what you're gonna
Yep.
find attractive, what is
Yep.
gonna be like, oh, I used to like that. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
It's just experience. So thank you for saying
Hmm.
that. Like, I think that's a really like a great point to drive home.
Yeah, and I would say this too. Some things that were non-negotiable, and then you date or you're with someone else, you're like, oh, that wasn't even that bad. I can deal with that. You know
Right,
what I'm
right.
saying? You're like,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't even that bad. I didn't know I
Yeah.
was gonna get this. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely have something on that line of like maybe non-negotiables changing, right? And so I find that when I'm talking to some of my friends who seem to be having just a more challenging experience, they're not finding what they want. These guys don't be about nothing sometimes, XYZ, all this stuff. I find that when I hear them speak, what they are actually saying is very different than what they're doing. What they're saying they want or what they require, or, what they're saying they demand from a person is not what they're actually doing nor receiving in like
Right.
experience, right? And so my question is, one, do you think that that is because they are either like ashamed of or don't know their options? Because I feel like, if society pushes you towards marriage, maybe you don't actually want marriage. Maybe you just want to go out and feel sexy and get with a guy. Like, maybe you don't
Uh-huh.
actually want marriage.
Uh-huh.
Or like, for the ones that end up kind of like in situationships that they were like, I'm not messing with this person anymore. I want a relationship like that is going somewhere, but
Uh-huh.
they still end up with a person that they know you
It's not
not
good for
messing with
them.
them on that level. Right. And so like, I guess, why do we do the things other than what we're looking for? Why do we go away from our non-negotiables? Like, what's that about?
Mm. That's a great question. There's something else you mentioned too that I want to go back to, but why do we go against our non-negotiables? Well, I know for me, right? Like, again, certain things you only realize once you're in it. So, like, there's times when I've been single where I'm like, these are my non-negotiables, and this, and this is that. And then when I meet someone and I like them, I don't know if it's the serotonin going to the brain or what's happening out
Yeah,
there,
starts
but
getting
then I
real
start being
hormonal.
like, and I mean, but they got this, and I mean, that's not really that bad because, they had a rough childhood and it's not their fault. I start rationalizing in my
Yeah.
brain.
Right.
But I've heard a lot of like psychologists and, people say that like that is normal, like because now the lens that you have a different lens on, you have those rose colored glasses on now. So you're not really seeing the person, as you would see them. So I really think that's why that happens, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like such
Yeah.
a delicate dance between like your heart and your
Hmm.
mind, right? Is yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's really when
Yeah.
it comes like to those non-negotiables. It's like, you know, it's that you know what you got to do, right? But sometimes how it
Exactly.
feel
How
is
it
the,
feels.
and I think that is usually the battle between folk, and then then you get to that space. I think after some experience, you would get to that space where it's like, nah, not doing that. at all.
Not doing that.
Not doing that. Yeah. And then you kind of stick with it if you've learned that lesson, right? You're just like,
Exactly.
I'm not doing this. I ain't doing this bullshit.
I've
again.
had to learn a lesson a couple times, but it's okay. Sometimes
You know?
I'm probably still learning a few lessons. The same one. God's like, okay. God's like, girl, you ain't getting it yet.
Well, don't worry, God will keep on telling you.
Right. And I
Like-
mean, the thing is too is like we don't ever stop learning, right? So even once you
Right.
find your life partner, you're still gonna be learning lessons. Like
That's
it don't
true.
stop.
The same one.
Exactly. It don't stop. Now you're just doing it with the same person over and over.
Right. That's true.
It don't stop. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about negotiables, our expectations, and Truth and I put together a few quote unquote healthy expectations that we think, you can go into, not you as an individual, you as in the broader you, can kind of like approach this whole thing with, right? So Truth, you want to go through some of them, and we just want to get like maybe your reaction to this and like kind of where you fall on the spectrum, right?
All right.
So we have healthy versus unrealistic. So healthy, emotional availability. I want someone who can communicate openly and is willing to grow emotionally. Your thoughts on that? Just a quick little flash.
Yeah, no, I think that's everything. Emotional availability, yes. And a lot of people are emotionally guarded for several different reasons. But yes, that to me is like, that's actually one of mine that I have in my notes section. So yes.
All right. So we got shared values, right? So we don't have to agree on everything, but we should align on like major things like family, faith, lifestyle, like integrity.
Yeah, I agree. To me, that's a non-negotiable. Like, if our shared value, because to me, your values are at the core. So that's a non-negotiable. Yeah.
Okay, this one might be a little unrealistic, but what do you think? Perfection. So they can't have any baggage, flaws, past mistakes.
No, to me, that's unrealistic. And I think a lot of times, too, people don't look inward. Like, you don't see yourself how other people see you. So you may have baggage that you don't even realize that you have. So who am I to say that they can't come with this or they can't come with that? Because to me, it's like, I come with my own baggage, I'm sure. So yeah, that's not one for me.
All right, cool. So let's do another one that might be a little, let's see.
Okay.
All right. So the mind reading, right? If they really love me, they just know what I need, right? Without me having to say it.
So this is another thing I used to feel when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I do feel like now at this age, I'm going to tell you exactly. Like, I'm going to tell you directions. Like, how you open a box, I'm going to tell you directly what I need. So that it'll be clear, right? So you can never say that we didn't have the conversation, that it was never put out there, because no one is a mind reader. And I've realized too, like, the way someone else interprets a situation is not the way, like, their train of thought could be completely different from yours. So no one is a mind reader. Y'all gotta, like, not y'all, but people gotta grow up. People cannot read your mind. You need to tell people what you need and what you
So
want.
I'm a devil's advocate this one, right?
Uh-oh.
Well, how do you feel though about like, I'm too damn old to be teaching you how to be a viable partner?
Okay,
like,
see, I was gonna give a caveat though, right? We're not talking about basic human consideration, basic human respects, how to care about somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like when everybody has their, we're all eccentric in our own ways. And I do think those little things that make you tick, or those little things that it's like, somebody wouldn't know about you, those are the things where you kind of have to spell out. But I don't think, you're right. Like, basic on how to treat someone you love. No, I'm not holding your hand like we're in kindergarten. So I do agree with that part.
Right.
Well, how about obviously mutual respect, right? I expect to be treated with respect, kindness, consideration, support, and you give the same in return, right? We good on that, right?
I mean, no, we're good on that. I agree. But where this one has got me caught up in different things people don't feel like is disrespectful. So you have to also ask your partner, what is disrespectful to you? Because to them, they may be like, oh, this person calling me at 11:30 at night, like, that's not disrespectful. And someone else might be like, no, someone calling you at a certain time, that is disrespectful. So I do think that one also could be a slippery slope and something for conversation, because one thing that I might think is disrespectful or, not respectful, somebody else may not feel that way. So I do think you need to get clear.
Yeah, I would
Agree.
definitely add on there, like, respect can also come with a lot of baggage and a lot of gendered baggage too.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to relationships and stuff. And so it's like, if you grow up thinking that respect means deference, and that means that I have to you literally were taught that a wife is supposed to obey their husband, a word like obey, you're wilding out. I would not ever obey nobody.
Right, what you mean?
Right, I'll consider respect and all that good stuff with you, but what it means to respect, even what it means to be respectful,
yes,
it's a navigation. So yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me go to one that might be a little kind of in the middle, right? Financial savior complex. So they need to make 6 figures, drive a luxury car, spoil me. I ain't going 50-50 with no man. Yeah, whatever. What's your thought there?
My thought there is that that's also just not realistic, right? I will say this. Let me give a disclaimer. Whatever works for you and your relationship works for you and your relationship, and you do not have to explain that to nobody else. Because y'all may have your own agreement and think that so it's don't let these podcast bros and passport bros and these, don't let them try to make you feel, or the red pill, blue pill, no. You do what works for your relationship. However, I do think that it's as a woman, I don't think it's realistic to say, oh, this person's going to pay all the bills and I'm going to, no, to me, we are a team. And the thing is too, life will humble you real quick. And so I think both people need to be able to produce income, because you never know what's going to happen. Somebody could get laid off, somebody can become ill. And then you have to both be able to, even if maybe your boo pay for everything, making sure, okay, I got, I have a skill or something where if we need be, I can step in and help too. You know what I mean? That's my thought on it.
Yeah, I agree. This balance is so essential, right? Because it's all right, cool. You got somebody who want to pay everything, but like you said, seasons change, right? And then it could be your turn, and that's they just got to be cool with that.
Exactly.
What I mean, a little, I guess, off topic but on topic, but when we talk about finances, that's always a big thing in relationships. So
always,
I feel like now too, it's a lot more of a topic when it comes to dating. Especially of who's paying on the date. Right? Have you run into that?
So I've heard it in conversation, but it never happened to me, because to me, when people invite me out on a date, they're like, okay, I invited you, so I'm gonna pay. Now I will say, and I don't know if other women out there do this, but I have been out on dates in the past where maybe I wasn't necessarily feeling a person like that, and I've offered to be like, let's split it. They're like, you're sure? I'm sure we can definitely split it, because I am not going to let you pay or do what it is. And I know I don't see it for you like that. It's you know what? Let's split it. We split. They were like, you want me to walk you to your car? Actually, I'm fine. You don't have to do that. I'm right there. Trust me. Text you when I get in my car.
Because it's gonna be the last time. Let me split it.
It's gonna be the last time, And I always make sure if I go on a date, it doesn't matter if the other person pays, that I have enough money in my pocket. That I can, just always make. So it's and also I'm really enjoying that particular date I'm thinking of. It's I really was enjoying myself. They were also late, so I had started off. I had me a drink. I had oysters, so I was really just happy to be out with myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we can definitely split it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I love that.
I'm gonna skip to this one because I think this is one I hear very often, and you can tell me if you think it's unrealistic or not. But instant fairy tale. We should click right away, have chemistry, no issues, and if everything is going right, we should definitely go straight to we locked in. We're moving towards marriage.
Yeah, so I too have been a part of this brigade at one point. I'm learning. That's why I said neurospicy. I'm learning that the way my brain works is that when someone likes me and I like them, I'm like, I'm putting things on my Pinterest board. I'm like, oh, we go together. We is married, basically. Like, we
Oh, y'all
married.
locked in.
We
Okay,
locked
got
in.
it.
I'm visualizing. I'm
Yeah.
saving songs on Spotify. Like, you know what? In about 5 years, this would be good to walk down the aisle to. And it's like, girl, this is crazy. This is crazy. You don't even know this person. I've already come up with a whole scene in my mind of a fairy tale. So now that I know this about myself, I have to like be a slow burn baddie. You know, like
Mm.
just like slow burn. First of all, I don't even like to read slow burn romance novels. Like if it's taking too long in a book, I'm like, girl, get to it already. This man love you, girl. Like kiss
Listen, bang,
him.
bang, bang.
Yeah,
Right.
I be like, girl, get to the point. They telling you that they want to be with you. Like, I don't even read it. I DNF that book so quick. But now I'm like, no, slow burn is good. Slow burn is good. Like, no love bombing. You know what I mean? Take your time. Because, you know, the fairy tale, you know, the honeymoon phase, it's like, no, this is real life. So when you slow burn, I think it's better. You have more longevity, I think, because you really take your time to get to know the person.
Definitely. I mean, I think that we have explored some of these realistic, unrealistic, expectations to have in relationships. And I think for listeners, we just encourage you to write down and reflect on your expectations, on your negotiables and non-negotiables. You can really ask yourself, is what you're asking for rooted in like actual your real life or fantasy? Have you explored these things? Have you explored your own values? And as clear as you can get on that, when you meet somebody that meets those expectations, you kind of hop on that. And the quicker when you meet somebody who does not meet those expectations, you can kind of just be like, I'm cool on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So finally, assuming you got clarity on what you're looking for, let's flip that mirror inwards and start with ourselves.
Okay.
Question: are you the type of person you're wanting? Do you bring what you're asking for to the table?
You know, this is such a good question because there was a point I remember I sat down, either had a journal or was in notes in my phone, and I was for real like, what do I bring to the table? Like, be real and vulnerable with yourself. It's like, do I just bring laughs and a good time? Am I just a court jester? You know?
Not Lord the good time girl. I'm crying.
No, for real, I had to sit down with myself. Especially because I do feel like, in 2025, it's not the old school of what you bring, like, oh, I gotta cook and clean and wash everything. Like, it's not a Tyler Perry,
Right.
this is like we're in a different time now. So, like, for real, what do I bring to the table? And it wasn't until like having my mom with me and like being in a house for the first time, because I didn't have only responsibility I had was myself. You know what I mean? But really just being like having to manage, like be a project manager of my home, making it run, making it warm, making it cozy, like figuring out things that just we need to, keep this as a well-oiled machine. And it's like, no, that is a valuable thing. But here's also one thing I want to say. Outside of those things, I also had to sit with myself and say, you are like, what I bring doesn't have to always be tangible of a thing that I have to do, because a lot of times I was performing, because I wanted people to love me. And so I would perform and be like, well, let me try to cook dinner. Let me try to fold their clothes. Let me try to do all these things, because then I could show them like, oh, I really am a good woman and I bring all these things to the table. But it's like, no, by me just being alive, that's what I bring to the table. Like me being a human being that, you know what I mean, that cares and loves and shows empathy, because I was raised, my mom used to always tell me, like, it's your character, it's who you are, how you treat people. You know what I mean? So that's number one, what I bring to the table. And I had to remember that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like your mom said, it's your character, it's who you are, it's how you treat people. And, you know, people are on different parts of their own personal journey, right? Their own personal journey of growth and development, whether it's your emotional, psychological growth, your financial growth, like whatever, everyone's on a journey. Do you think that there is a point of personal readiness for like actual dating? Like, is there a set point or some standard that you see for yourself or that you feel like people should have before they say, okay, I want to be in partnership with somebody else or I'm going to go seek this out?
Okay, so I'm gonna be real with y'all, right? 'Cause we could be real here.
That's right.
So now I will say personal readiness, it does cost to date. I think both ways, right? Not
Like money?
money, yeah, it costs today. Like when two people are going out, or just even like, you know, as you get to know someone, having a nice, inviting space to invite them to. You know, I remember I was talking to someone, this was a while ago, and they were telling me that, you know, they were like, you know, they live with their mom and they're in the basement, whatever. Okay, fine, cool. Like some people have a whole setup in their basement, whatever.
Yeah.
But then they were like, they got like one chair, their gaming chair, one
You
chair
funny.
and a bed. And I said, "Oh, okay. So you got one chair in the bed. So like when you have company, you know, you have a young lady over. Well, where are they sitting at? And you're like, where do y'all sit at together? They're like, oh, they usually like lay in a bed. I'm like, oh, you see,
And with the outside clothes, it's crazy.
it's
Oh,
like,
they
you know, it's like,
they went to the top. They
Right.
just lay in the bed. Like,
Just
bro,
they like,
ain't even
oh, I
relax.
sit,
need
just
to,
lay in the
you
bed.
know, or the gaming chair. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. If I was in my 20s, that would be an okay answer. But if you're going to be dating and you're going to be inviting someone over to your place, you know, or there's some people who like, oh yeah, I'm in my homeboy spot. You know, come to no, I ain't coming
No.
to your homeboy spot. Like,
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely. No, you
why would I
absolutely
be doing
right.
that?
You
You
absolutely
know, you
That's
right.
have to have
insane.
feasible seating. Offer somebody some water. You ain't got no sweet tea, lemonade, nothing. Come on, you
Ain't
come
got
on
no
now.
snacks.
You ain't got no snacks.
Right.
So it's like you got to think
Right.
about that when you read, you know, or you're like, and don't get me wrong, I've had sympathy, like as you know, there was the government shutdown, so a lot of people weren't working. So you know, even on the apps, I've met a few people that were like, you know, I'm in between jobs right now, and you know, which I definitely understand. And it's not even from a judgmental place because it's like, yo, I get it, like I get it. I just think that maybe you shouldn't prioritize like dating at this point. Like maybe just be like, let me
Say
get
it.
this squared away.
Say it.
You know, like just let me get this squared away and then I will come back to that. It's not even from a
Yeah.
judgmental point of view.
No,
You know,
no.
because even
Yeah.
me, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, let me just hone in on like getting me a job and then
Yeah.
I come back to this.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Now it's different if you lose a job and you're already been talking to this person, but I think kind of just putting yourself out there when this is just happening, like, you know, so I do think those are some things, but I think that you'll never be completely ready. Like I've learned that too, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend some time and I'm gonna just heal and I'm gonna do this. But it's like I mentioned before, then you're kind of isolating yourself, and then when you think you're ready and then you know you've been out the game so long, it's like I think that you kind of have to be somewhat in the game to be ready, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. If there's just some things you got to be ready for,
Yeah.
and it's just like I think it also shows people's priorities.
Yeah.
And I think that's very insightful too for the other person who's like dating, like
Hmm.
it shows like where you putting your priorities at. Cause
Where
I'm
you
like,
putting your
I don't
priority?
sin.
Now, I will say, if you experience any, you know, like going through a breakup or something that's really tough, I do think that, like, for my last relationship, and I went through a really bad breakup, I was like, oh, I need to go seek therapy. Like I need to sit on somebody's couch because I really do want to make sure that like I don't want to drag this to someone else that I meet or like, you know, date. I really want to be really ready and like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I won't say, you know, you're always healing, so there's never like an end point to it. But I was like, okay, let me just go sit on somebody's couch, sit on a lady couch real quick so that I can like try to get the tools that I need for the next, you know, relationship.
Absolutely. I've had plenty of friends who've gone, after like a bad breakup, and it's
Hmm.
been like some of the best decisions ever made because just that communication piece that is often taught will just carry you through all types of relationships.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
But don't be out here with no job trying to date. If y'all got anything, that's the
Yeah, it's like, just like for
That
real.
takeaway.
Yeah, like take your time and like really focus. Because listen, looking for a job is a job. So you don't need to have the job of looking for a job and then trying to have the job of getting to know me.
Right. Yeah. And doing
You
the
know what I
whole
mean?
like impressing and trying to
Exactly.
dates and stuff. Nah, man. I mean,
Yeah.
to an extent, right? It also like you got to be making some money in order to date too. Like
I
that's
agree,
just
and that's both ways. Like I'm not saying
exactly.
that it's both
No.
ways.
It's
You know
both
what I mean?
ways.
Because
Yeah.
two people going out getting drinks in this economy is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And unless it's summertime and you just want to be so creative and y'all go to a picnic or
right.
a fair,
Mm-hmm.
but what you gonna? It's winter now. What you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't even say like, yeah, we're gonna walk around. Yeah,
Right,
it's brick
exactly.
outside. Like,
They're
go
gonna
on.
say you can sit on the game chair or the bed in the basement. That's what you can do.
Right.
Gotta back pocket that one. You can sit in the bed. You can just get
Just
right in
lay
the bed. Like,
what?
Like, excuse me?
Nah, that's wild.
You're wildin'.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah.
okay, so we've heard a little bit about having some level of baseline. You don't need to come to the relationship or to the dating experience perfect or healed or complete, but you should have yourself together on some level. That's kind of like what I'm hearing, right? And so, we would not be Real Talk on God Talk if we didn't have some God Talk on here. And so when we talk about priorities, when it comes to like spiritual alignment, when it comes to religious alignment, like what's your take there? What's your approach? What are you thinking?
Like when dating?
Yeah. Like what's important to you?
I think it's like, now why am I asking when dating when we're talking about dating? But yeah,
That's okay. We rolling along.
Yeah, like right. I think that like if we have two extremes, again, I think it's the same with the lifestyle, like in the hobbies. If we're too extremes when it comes to religion and spirituality, like if the person is like an atheist, that probably wouldn't work for me. I'm not, against anybody. It just wouldn't work for me, right?
Yeah.
Or just like so the two extremes. And even if it's something where it's like they want me to be in church every Sunday, like saying it, like that might be a thing where they're really rigid on that, and it's like that might not work for me. So, I do like to ask when I'm meeting somebody or if I match with somebody, like, oh, how was you, what was your spiritual background? How was you raised, And it's funny because even though I was raised Baptist, I went to a Catholic high school, like my first year of high school, and I was in the Catholic, I was like, well, listen, it's almost the same thing. I was trying to do Eucharist and everything they do. They're like, girl, you can't do that. So it's like, but I'm open. I'm flexible.
Time out. It's almost the same thing. I love that for you. Okay. That I just had to run it back to that real quick.
It's like we all love God, we all listen.
Right. God.
We all speaking in different fonts, but to the same Father. So it's like I think he's okay if I'm here. Like I was in mass, everything. So and Brother Bob was trying to stop me. I'm like, you can't stop me from taking the blood of Christ. Okay?
I'm a child of God. Okay, listen.
Right. You can stop me, priest, whose church this is. You cannot stop me.
No, nobody's going to check me, boo, but Jesus. So, yeah, I'm going to take it. So, anyway, I say that to say that when I'm dating, I am open, right? Like, they could be Catholic or something. Like, I'm fine with that. It just can't be rigid. Like,
let's take a step closer. So, you said things within Christianity and probably not atheist, most likely. But what about interreligiously? What about interreligious dating? Is that like on the hotline for you?
I would be open to it. It's just more so like, what do you expect of me? Right. So it's like, I don't judge you. It's not a problem for me, but what do you expect of me? You know what I mean? Like, do I have to cover?
Don't judge you.
Yeah, like, do I have to cover something? Because I just can't do that. I can't cover anything.
I can't do that.
I can't do that. So it's like, what do you expect of me?
Yeah.
I will say, like, I've had a few experiences where people who were people of the cloth, I'll say that, have tried to.
It's the way you said people of the cloth, like people of the corn. I'm scared.
Have tried to match with me, and I'm like, that doesn't like, it doesn't bother me. What do you expect of me?
Right.
Right.
I can't be no first lady. Like, I can't. Like, do I have to make my page private because I'm gonna be on the beach in a like everything out. Like, I'm gonna be in another country just so it's like, damn, I don't feel a way about that. It's just, what do you expect of me? Because I know I can't uphold
Hold
that
down from head
standard.
to toe. Head to toe, full frontal nudity, baby. Let's
She
go.
said the whole congregation gonna see all of
It
this.
said everybody's gonna get a piece of this.
So it's like,
I'm
I
not mad at
can't,
it.
like, I'm down with you. Like, I will even, you know, with like how y'all pray, I will do it with you. But it's like, what do you expect of me? Because
Yeah.
I like to drink, I like to
Yeah.
cuss sometimes. I still love God.
Yeah.
But you know, you know, so, and then I also think too with dating, then you have to think about if y'all were to be married or have children. It's like, well, how are your views going to affect the children that we have and how they like, so that is something that I have to like see how extreme, I guess, or where they fall on the spectrum with their religion.
No, that's
Got it.
legit. I think that's something people often overlook too. Like, it sounds nice, you know, like, yeah, we could all get along.
We could all get along, right?
So we can't get along.
So we can't get along. Or you meet
Yeah.
their parents and their parents are like devout, and they looking at you like, oh, that girl you with is a Jezebel.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and now, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not as simple as like we could just get along.
Exactly.
This is yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kick it with one last question on this, God and faith tip, which is, there are few relationships. That's not true. There are many relationships that are very close, but when you are physically with someone sexually, you're with them all the time, you're spending time with them, they're your person, you're dating them, you end up like getting really close to them and they can impact your relationship with God, they can impact your future, whatever. And I believe that God, this is my personal belief, but I believe that God gives us messages about the people that we're around, about life. And so my question is, do you feel like God has ever given you a message about someone that you're dating, either to date them, to not date them? You feel like, do you feel like God has ever given you a message, or that God does tell people about these things? And like, how do you hear God's voice in the dating process?
Yeah, I mean, so I recently, I would say, have tried to get more in tune with God's voice. Because when I was younger, I used to be like asking people who said they heard God's voice, like, well, what did it sound like? Was it high pitched, low pitched? Like, I don't know, I don't hear nothing. I would say though, more recently with dating, I have been praying like, God, like, if this person is for me, show me, or like, and I talk to God regularly. So I'm like, God, I don't get things like, I'm your child, that you got to really do something extreme for me. Cause you may show something small and I'm like, oh no, God, like, that's not it. Like, and they're like, hey, I'm trying to tell you. So I'm like, yeah, God, like, make it blaring red, like hit me over the head with it, like for real. And he has, right? Now I will say, when it's happened, when he revealed something to me about, someone or whatever, I was actually kind of scared. I was like, oh, I told you to, God showed me, and I didn't know you was going to do it in 1 or 2 business days. I kind of got scared. I was like, oh, wait, like, prayer actually be working? And then I was like, oh, like, it did kind of scare me a little bit, because I've never had it happen like that.
Yeah.
So now I just be like, for real, God, like, I'm not going to see certain things that you see. And because I also used to be a person that would like, well, I need to find out if this person is this. I need to find out. But it's like, no, God will reveal things in his time. And another prayer I've been praying is like, God, let it be your will, not my will. Because my will has not been working, number one. And number two, my will might to be like, I love this person, I want to be with this person or whatever, and it may not be your will. So if it's not your will, then remove this person, or make it like not as easy, right? Where I'm not saying relationships are supposed to be easy, but when something you just keep trying and it's not working, it feel like y'all going uphill, it's like, yeah, God, like, let it be your will, not mine. And so he's definitely like revealed things to me. Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, you got to listen to that, man. You got to listen to it. No is no.
Listen, I know God be like, girl, I'm trying to help you. So, yeah.
No, seriously, that
Yeah.
prayer of God, your will, not mine,
Ooh,
so powerful, like
powerful.
generally, but especially I think in relationship, it's like how many times you may be around somebody and you get headaches and your nervous system does not feel at rest, and suddenly everything, every ache and pain is happening in your body, everything is going wrong, you're losing your keys, you're losing your wallet, everything is going off, and it's like, are you paying attention to what the state of yourself is when you're in certain situations and around certain people? And I think, I think that was very powerful. So.
And I also want to say too, is like, I used to think when I was younger that love was struggle. So I wouldn't even have heard God's voice if it knocked me over the head, because I'm thinking like, oh, I've been in the trenches with this person and we went through this and we went through that and we weathered all these storms together, and thinking that means that we're supposed to be together. But it's like, love doesn't have to be struggle in that way. Yes, you'll go through things with your partner, but like you said, if everything is just like, not panning out and you're going through pain and strife, it's like, that's not a show of love, So I've definitely matured in that sense.
Yeah, I love that. That's true. You can't be struggling all the time.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah. So, honestly, that was so fun. Thank you for coming, Laura. Like, that was so fun. I want to give you an opportunity to just share any last words with listeners on love, approach to dating, discernment, just any encouragement, whatever you got to say.
Yeah, I would
this is your time.
say, like, and this is also to myself. So I'm also speaking to myself, for also the people out there that's single, and myself. Like, don't be discouraged. I know there's a lot of propaganda out there, and I even have to stop myself sometimes, because there's a lot of propaganda about this person versus this person, and pop the balloon and this, and all these things, and it can really make you feel discouraged and just be like, I'm never gonna find anybody. I've spent nights sometimes crying and just be like, okay, God, like, maybe this is not, like, maybe you skipped over me or something in the love department, you know what I mean? And so just don't be discouraged. I feel like love still exists. I still want to say Black love exists, because there's a lot of propaganda around that too, is that, we're not loving each other. And it's like, no, it's still there. So I just, speaking to everyone out there and myself, to not be discouraged, continue, like, being yourself, continue being your authentic self, and the right love will find you. And so I'm speaking to them, but also to myself as well.
To keep the conversation going, tell us what you think by following us on Instagram or Twitter at Real Talk on Godtalk.
It's YaYa, and you're listening to The Moon Reading. This episode is set for release on February 17th, which, according to the skies and planetary alignments, is apparently a time of big energy. Several powerful lunar and spiritual moments are converging during this time, which tells us, pay attention. Looking up around this time, we'll see a new moon in Aquarius, a phase traditionally associated with new beginnings, vision, community, and future-focused thinking. New moons are like resets, moments where we plant intentions, clear our mental clutter, and imagine new and different possibilities. This one carries a little extra intensity because it aligns with the annual solar eclipse. This one called the Ring of Fire. It might symbolize turning points, revelations, or maybe like shifts in perspective, right? So while the skies are doing their thing, something equally meaningful is unfolding spiritually. The holy period of Ramadan is expected to begin sometime between February 17th, 18th, or 19th, depending on the sighting of the crescent moon. During Ramadan, Muslims around the world fast from dawn to sunset, refraining from food and drink as a practice of devotion, reflection, and spiritual focus. This month commemorates when the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad more than 14 centuries ago. It emphasizes a time of mindfulness, compassion, and deeper consciousness about the divine. So at the same moment where many people are setting intentions under a new moon, millions of others are entering a period of discipline, reflection, and renewal. But that's not all. February 17th also marks the Lunar New Year in Eastern cultures. We're ushering in the year of the fire horse in the Chinese zodiac. In the tradition of the Chinese zodiac, every year is linked to an animal and an element. The horse symbolizes momentum, freedom, bold movement, and forward action. With the element of fire added, many interpret this year as one of acceleration, rapid change, and maybe even some breakthroughs. So we can pause to take it all in, right? We have a new moon reset, a ring of fire solar eclipse, a sacred month of spiritual focus beginning for many Muslims worldwide. And it's the year of the fire horse, which comes charging in, centered on motion and transformation. What I really like about this convergence of time is that it reminds us that human beings across the world look up at the same sky and mark time through cycles. February is definitely bringing some serious energy, moving and shifting. And it's up to you to reflect on the question, toward what?
Thank you for listening to Real Talk on Godtalk, a podcast for people who skip church for brunch on Sundays. We had a beautiful conversation today. Make sure y'all tune in, share it with a friend, and be sure to join our Godtalk circle where you will hear this episode first. So be sure to tell your friends to join in so they can hear it first and get all this juicy conversation that we had. Thank you again, Laura, for joining us. We really appreciate you. Thank you for coming through and just showing us love. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Love you guys.
I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk. The God in God talk.